the end of Parshas Emor, we're taught about the lechem aponim, the special bread that was baked in the Beis Hamikdash, and it was placed on the shulchan. There was a special table, and on that table there were 12 breads that was baked on Friday, and on Shabbos was placed on the table. Now, there was already bread from last week on the table, because it says that bread must be tamid, it must be always, constantly on the table. That means when the Kohanim brought the bread of the second week, that was baked on this Friday, the old bread was there ready for a week. They had to bring it, as the Gemara describes, the system, they would bring the new bread, the old bread was still on the table, they would replace the old bread with the new bread at the same time, simultaneously, so there wouldn't be a second where there wouldn't be bread on the shulchan, because it has to be there always. It's Talmud. Okay. The Gemara in Chagiga, the Gemara describes different aspects based on this pasuk about the shulchan, it being clean and being tar, and during this discussion, the Gemara mentions the following. The Gemara says that when the Yidden would come for Aliyah L'Regel 3 times a year, all the Yidden that would come to the Beis Hamikdash for Yom Tov, for Pesach, Shavuos, and Sukkot. They would bring it, the Kohanim would remove the entire table together with the bread, and they would show it to the Jews. They would show it to the multitudes of Jews that came, and they would say, look how much Hashem loves you. Why? What do we see Hashem's love? Because the bread, a special miracle happened with the bread. The bread, it turns out that the bread was a week on the table, and it was still fresh. You see, even a week later, the bread is still fresh. And they would show this bread, a week-old bread, to Klal Yisrael, and they say, you see how fresh it is? Hashem loves you, that's why He does this miracle. From all the miracles that were possible to show the Jews, there were so many miracles that happened in the Beis Hamikdash. This is the miracle that they showed the Jews, and what do they say? Hashem loves you. Say Hashem is miraculous. Who actually gets to eat the fresh bread? Only the Kohanim. And from 12 breads that had to be split up with all the Kohanim that were there that week, it was not even the Kohanim didn't get so much of that bread. This is the miracle that shows the love that Hashem has to the Jewish people. What is the message behind showing the bread to Klal Yisrael and telling them this is because it's fresh? This is to show how much Hashem loves you. Sefer Imrei Tzvi is quoted by the Sefer Ma'aner Shel Torah. Also, I saw quoted by Sefer Pardes Yosef. Quotes this thought from the Imrei Tzvi. It says, the Gemara says in Yuma, an interesting discussion. The Talmidim of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai asked him, tell us, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, tell us, why was it that in the Midbar, in the desert, when the Jews were 40 years in the desert, every day they got the man. The man fell from the heavens, and they had enough food for that day. Nothing could be left over for the next day. There was only enough for one day at a time, except for Shabbos when they got 2 portions. But on every day, they only got for that day. Why? Wouldn't it be more cost-effective for Hashem's factory to be able to produce a mass production of man and give him once a month or once a week? Once a year, give them the man, and that would last for as long as they needed it. Why every day do they have to get man just for that day? So Rav Shimon Bar Yochai gave 2 answers. First answer is a lengthy answer. He said, I'll give you a mashal. There's a comparison that one can make to a king who had a single son, one son, an only son. And the son would come and ask his father for support. Please give me money that I could be able to live as a prince should. And the king, once a year, would calculate the budget that was needed for the prince and gave him all the money that he needed for that year. What happened? After a few years, the son stopped coming to visit his father. You know when he would come? When he needs the money. When the money ran out, he would come to visit his father. His father was quite upset. He was sad. He loved his son. He wanted to see his son, but his son only came when he needed money. You know what he did? The next time his son came, he gave him a little bit of an allowance. The son said, excuse me, father, why so little money? He said, is that enough for a day? Well, yeah, for one day I guess enough. Come back tomorrow, I'll give you another. And the next day he gave him a little more, and the next day he gave him enough for that day, and it turned out that the king was very happy. He got to see his son every single day. And this is the lesson behind the man in the Midbar, says Rav Shimon Bar Yochai. If a person has 5 or 6 children, he has a big family, and he's worried about where he's going to feed his family, and he got man, but it's only enough for that day. What's he going to do? He's going to daven to Hashem. He's going to say, Hashem, please, I need enough food to feed my whole family. The food you gave me today was great, it was excellent, but it's only enough for one day. And the next morning you would come out and miraculously there would be more man. You would say, wow, thank you Hashem for giving me man. Please, tomorrow give me again one. And every day he would daven to Hashem. So by davening every day to Hashem, Hashem was very happy. The fact that he gave him man only for one day meant that he would hear the prayers of this Jew every single day. And that's what Hashem wanted. first answer. The second answer, says Rosh Hashanah, more practical answer. Listen, if Hashem would give man only once a week, at the end of the week it wouldn't be fresh anymore, it wouldn't be warm, it would be cold man. Hashem wanted to give them fresh, warm man every day. Two answers. Says the Sefer Imrei Tzvi. Which one of the answers is more correct? We don't know. The Gemara doesn't say. The Gemara just gives both answers. The Imrei Tzvi says the first answer is the correct answer. How do I know? Because what does it mean that Hashem wanted the man to be fresh? In the Beis Hamikdash, the lechem hapanim was fresh for an entire week. If the lechem hapanim could stay fresh for an entire week, why can't the man stay fresh for an entire week? So it doesn't seem like that's a satisfiable answer. The Talmidim should have asked Rosh Hashanah, what do you mean? In the Beis Hamikdash, the man was fresh. It must be that the real answer is the first answer. Hashem wants to see us every day, and that's why He only gave the man for one day at a time. Not because He wanted to be fresh. He wanted to be fresh. He could have made it fresh for a week, for a month. He did it in the Beis Hamikdash. Says the Imrei Tzvi, this is what's going on. When the Kohanim showed, the Klai Yisrael the man, they said, you see how fresh it is? Hashem can do it. You know why Hashem didn't do it in the Midbar? You know why Hashem didn't do it when He gave you the man? It's because He wants to see you every day, because He loves you. This shows the love that Hashem, not the miracle shows the love that Hashem has. The fact that Hashem could do the miracle and He didn't do it for the man, it's because He wants us to daven to Him every single day. Now, what does it mean to daven to Hashem? If we take the comparison that Rosh Hashanah said, there was a king who didn't see. So he didn't see that he didn't hear from his son. He didn't get a telegram from his son. He didn't get an email from his son. He didn't meet his son. Because davening, that Hashem said, that's why Hashem only gave man once a day, because He wanted to hear the prayers. Prayers is not just reciting some words in a shul 3 times a day. It's meeting Hashem. Hashem wants to meet us every single day. That's the lesson that the Kohanim were impressing on the entire Klai Yisrael. Hashem loves you so much and He wants to see you. You came now to see Hashem. You came very nice. It's 3 times a year. Hashem wants to see you every single day. Every time you open a siddur in the morning and you start davening to Hashem, it's not just reciting words. It's meeting with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what Hashem wants, because He loves you. And that's the message of the fresh lechem hapanim. Not the fresh lechem hapanim, but the fact that it could be fresh. The man could also be fresh. Hashem wants us to daven. Hashem wants to meet us every single day. Good Shabbos. Please don't forget to subscribe. You'll get the video every week by subscribing. Put a like. Thank you very much. Good Shabbos.